I guess I can say I'm taking bots seriously. Probably more seriously than any other network.
I'm a poker player. I enjoy friendly competition. I don't enjoy, cheating.
This much to the poker community, and I'll go on. You can quote me on them.
I'm going to quote you on this one later.
I will make mistakes, and I
Quote
will
'em.
ban real money people, and I will ban real people because they seem like bots.
And it's very possible, that somebody feels like, if if you can't beat him, cheat him.
Right? There's nobody else moving up the ladder, like zero. Absolutely no one else moving up the ladder, because nobody's thinking about this stuff, and we're definitely doing some things that no one else is doing.
Right? But it's bad for the poker community. It's bad for the industry as a whole. It's already got such so many black eyes, right? It's stuff like this just isn't good for anybody.
And I brought on my whole team and I says, we're not going to do what everybody else is doing. Our new goal in life is to not suck. Right?
It's poker players theoretically are intelligent people and think through problems, right? Just look at the track record. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Look at the track record of the options that you have and the options that you don't have, right? And just look at what it's what poker company is aligned with your best interests at any point.
Not ACR.
For me, it's us. We're the only.
No,
ones
it
that
isn't. Don't fucking lie.
And I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm saying I'm your only option.
Technically not.
I'm saying your best shot.
Technically not.
Which is, winning by default sucks, but it's still winning.
You hungry, Phil?
I can really not be the best at everything else. As long as I make sure I send everybody their money, I'll continue to be in business. You're always going to get your money. Is anything else important?
Yes.
Does anything else really matter?
Yes.
Right? If you have to say, okay, I'm going to have the best software in the world, I'm going to have the best this in the world, I'm going to have this, that in the world, but there's a much higher percentage chance that I'm not going to get my money. Right? Which one are you going to take?
So does anything else really matter? Does anything else matter besides getting paid your money or improving the ecosystem, the software, and the conditions to create a fair environment? Now, Phil, from watching many hours of video of you talking by yourself or talking with other people, I think it's very clear that you have a massive priority on the players who play on your site getting paid out. And now I have a lot of respect for that. And I think the poker players are very appreciative that you do put such a high priority on paying out your customers. But one thing I've noticed is a massive lack of attention going into the security side of things. And I'm going to talk more about why this all matters. And I'm going to pull up some clips that you've talked about, Phil, and we're going to talk more about some of these things that you've said. Now, in my last video, I talked about how Phil reached out to me. We had a conversation about, he asked me, why did I put up the video? He didn't ask me, all right, these are some serious allegations. Let's get down to fixing these. He said, why did you do this? Why did you put this up there? And now, I found that interesting because, like I said, I thought the first thing he would say is, how can we fix these situations? I don't know if these are true, but let's get down to it. One of the reasons, I guess a few of the reasons why I did this is because I've spent hours and hours and hours in the past year playing on America's Cardroom, playing in these small, mid, and high stakes games, thinking that I had a fair chance to be able to compete against actual players and not a team of bots or potential colluders or potential super users on the website. I've sent, I don't even know how many people I possibly could have sent to play on the site or motivated them to play more on the site. Anytime people have brought up, they ask the question, where should I play on? I'm in USA. I say, all right, Ignition, America's Cardroom, those sites. I play on those sites. I've won money on those sites, but you got to be careful because you're probably not going to win on the sites. Now, little did I know where exactly I was sending these players into. And now, when we're getting a chance to actually dive more into these issues, I am getting hundreds of messages from all angles related to every single game type that exists. And the more I dig into this, the more I'm starting to realize that I don't think a security team actually exists on America's Cardroom. Because the first thing we're going to look into is a comment made by Phil on bots, and we're going to look at something that is going to have you questioning, how could a security team actually be existing in this environment? To me, it does not seem possible for it to be real. And now I want to talk about, kind of why this stuff even matters. I think if you're out there, Phil, or anyone else out there working with the Winning Poker Network, you might say, oh, this is going to cost us a lot of money. We got to hire security people out there. We got to figure out solutions, figure out systems to be able to detect these players. But if your goal is to make poker great again and to make a great poker site, you got to fix these problems now. These things can't go on and keep existing. Eventually, it's all going to die. But right now, you guys have the opportunity to really make a change, to really put an effort and emphasis into this, and to really create something great like you want to do. You mentioned in one video that you turned this network from the 44th network to a top 10 network. And now that's something to be incredibly proud of. And that's something that other poker sites aspire to do. But now, how did that happen? How did you do it? Did you do it by looking the other way time after time after time as these issues were clearly in front of you? Did you not know the issues were going on? What happened? Where did this go wrong? But like I said, I don't think it's too late to fix this. What you want and what I want and what the players want, I feel like is a pretty similar thing. You want to make a fair, legitimate, and a competitive poker site that people out there can feel safe playing on and can have a fair chance to be able to win money on the site.
Is people asked, what are you guys doing about bots? Obviously, that's everyone wants to know that.
Well,
that's fine.
It's so catch 22, right? If I get into, I guess I can say I'm taking bots seriously. Right? Probably more seriously than any other network. That being said, if I get too deep into it, then I'm really not taking it too seriously. It's give me a month or so. It's to be I'm gonna make it very, very clear that other networks are gonna be much more bot friendly than ours.
Okay.
That's it's give me 30 days. I think I've come up with the single biggest deterrent for anybody who wants to even think about doing bots. Now, I will say this much to the poker community, and I'll go on. You can quote me on this. I will make mistakes, and I will ban real money people, and I will ban real people because they seem like bots, and I will be merciless about it because it's to do this right. You've got to draw a line in the sand. So if you end up being a casualty of war or what do you want to call it? Collateral damage, I apologize, but this is what the people want.
So now I watched that clip, and I'm honestly in a little bit of shock. I'm a little baffled because where's I heard this energy that Phil brought. I heard what he said, but he has literally done this in no way, no shape, no form. Now I don't know how someone can possibly log into America's Cardroom with access to the back door, whatever's behind the scenes, go to the cash game tables, and specifically Pot Limit Omaha right now, go down to the small and micro stakes, and possibly think that there is not something going on here. We have 3 accounts, the biggest winners I've ever seen in my entire life at 5 cent, 10 cent Pot Limit Omaha, the most obvious bots with the same stats for these 3 accounts, win rates that have to be the most incredible outlier when breaking down win rates at these stakes that possibly exist at 10 cent PLO. I don't know how you can possibly look at these things, look at the data, look at the player patterns, and say, okay, this isn't something that's going on here. If you're talking about potentially banning some accounts that are casualties of war, well, what are people looking at right now? How could you look at this in an honest form and say, oh, this is legitimate? And now this is my biggest question, because we went over the tournaments situation with the tournament people that were taking advantage of this loophole. Now, this loophole has existed for a long time. These people were banned. They were only banned because of a rogue man who just cared too much. They weren't banned because anything security did. Security is just reacting to people bringing it to their attention. What exactly are they doing? What does the security team do? Who is the security team? Who are these people? I just don't understand how these people aren't either involved or how they have their job. Because these are just the most obvious cases of this happening. And now, Phil, when I messaged you about this, you didn't really have much of concern for the collusion or for the bots. You had concern for the super using that I talked about. And now let me ask you this. If I'm sitting here and I'm saying what I've been seeing, the inability to detect the most obvious people who are bots and who are exploiting to play this team game on the tournaments, and even these sit and go bots I've seen that were previously banned are pretty obvious as well. Now, if you aren't able to know this is existing or fix this, how would I ever believe that you're capable of detecting or knowing if people are super using on the site? There is no way I am possibly going to believe that you can have the knowledge or the understanding to know if that's going on if you cannot track these 24-hour playing bots or these people exploiting the loophole for the highest win rates in tournaments, or for sit and go players showing up with the highest ROIs that exist in sit and goes right now. If you cannot detect this, how are you ever going to detect possible super using? If you can't detect the most obvious collusion happening at the high stakes pot limit Omaha, where a player is sharing another account in those games and in tournaments, how are you ever going to detect higher level collusion, higher level super using? I don't believe it's possible for you to be able to do that. Now, how do we fix this bot problem? You talked about, all right, we're going to ban some accounts that are suspected of doing this. Well, where are the bans? Where is action on these issues that are taking place? Where is it? We've heard nothing from you or from the site since these videos have been put out and since people have come forward with more information and specific information and details on people getting a little out of line. Now, where's that action? And on this bot situation, why are these accounts still playing? These accounts are taking so much money from legitimate players out there and probably some other illegitimate players out there competing against each other in a little war. The sleeper free roll cell has been activated. Those guys were in hiding. They were in hiding playing free rolls. Their account went dormant. They got activated for the biggest win rates. What the fuck is going on? Now, if you guys don't know how to stop bots, if you don't know what to look for, I get it. I can understand that. You can't be great at everything. When you're trying to manage so many different arms of an operation, of course you're going to struggle with some. And now I sat down, spent 2 to 3 hours. I came up with 30 to 40 different data points that will be able to detect if an account is suspicious, if they're doing something suspicious. And now I'm led to believe from what you said in a video that these accounts are going to be fucking banned. Get rid of these guys. That's what you said. You said that. Where's the action? What's happening? What's going on? Why isn't someone complaining about being accidentally banned for being a bot? And when it comes down to just checking on these bots, let's use some creativity here. If you think some player's a bot, you also mentioned you like to get on the phone and talk with the players. You want to communicate with them. Well, bring that energy to those players and fucking let's communicate with those guys. Let's talk to them. Hey, Billy the bot, what's going on? This is Phil. We think you're a bot. And then who knows, if there's some foreign guy, they don't know how to talk, we get him a fucking translator. We got a translator lined up for you. What language you speak? You don't speak English? That's perfect. Let me put on my Russian guy. Let me put on my Belarusian guy. Let me put on my Ukrainian here. Let's do a little bit of translation and let's get some answers to some questions that we got. Let's put a webcam up and say, hey, you play your normal session. You tell me what exactly you're thinking here. Why'd you make these decisions? Why'd you make these decisions in the past? What's up with your play patterns? What's up with your time patterns? I could sit down, think about this for 1 hour, and have 1,000 questions to ask any player. And any legitimate player is going to be perfectly fine answering these questions to ensure that there's a fair environment taking place on the website. How can this not be done? I just don't understand how things like this aren't taking place. ACR is enabling these accounts to register without a name on some of these skins and then be able to cash out without any sort of balances and checks. It just blows my mind that this is allowed to take place. And now if you check these accounts once and they pass and they continue with this suspicious behavior, you check them again and again. Because this is a big deal. These players are taking out who knows how much money, maybe millions of dollars from the site. They're taking millions of dollars away from fair and legitimate players who want a chance to compete and not compete against a team of 4 accounts or players that just play 24 hours a day with absolutely no emotions. That's what the players want out there. That's what you promised us, the players. And that is what's not being delivered on your end. And now I've heard about bots going everywhere. I've read the 2+2 forums, PLO bots, no and hold cash game bots, heads up sit and go bots, regular sit and go bots, potential multi-table tournament bots, free roll bots. The communication on your end, abysmal, embarrassing, very embarrassing. The communication I've seen from the winning tournament TD, whatever account that is, and the players when these suspicions are raised. There is no communication. There's trolling being done. There's sarcasm being done. It's like I'm talking to Doug Polk, being sarcastic. I'm not a website communicating with players who are making accusations of bots in their games, taking out a bunch of money. All right? I'm talking to my friend. You guys are talking to customers and players, and this is how you treat them on there. I think all of this ties in and really paints a picture of just maybe what's going on over there. And I think that needs to be fixed ASAP. That's something that can be fixed straight away. Let's improve our relationships with the players. If we're going to communicate with the players, let's actually take these things seriously. People are sending me what's happening. I'm the one investigating it. What the hell is going on? How am I the one that's investigating these issues and you're not? That blows my mind. Now let's play some clips that I found of Phil, and let's kind of dig deeper into some of these things.
I'm a poker player. I enjoy friendly competition, right? I don't enjoy, cheating. And it's very possible, that somebody feels like, if you can't beat them, cheat them, right? But it's bad for the poker community. It's bad for the industry as a whole. It's already got such so many black eyes, right? It's stuff like this just isn't good for anybody.
And now, Phil, in this clip, you say you're a poker player. You don't enjoy cheating. And now I've laid out what type of cheating is happening on your site. Some of these things have been very proven. Some of these things are things only you can investigate and confirm 100%. But you don't enjoy cheating. So why are you letting cheating happen in every single game format on your site? Phil, this is your chance to be able to make this situation better. This is your chance to communicate with the players and say, hey, we're taking a strong stand against this. This is your chance to build something that's actually great and has longevity for poker players out there all over the world. And really, this is your chance to get rid of those goddamn Eastern European bots, Phil. Because if you look at what's happening here, right? Where does it all go back to? It all goes back to these Eastern European countries. And now some of these accounts do exist outside of Eastern Europe. They've bought accounts in other countries. They've bought American accounts. They've bought Polish accounts. They've bought accounts all over the world. But what's going to happen is if you're able to get rid of these accounts, well, new accounts are going to come back up. Well, if those accounts have similar play patterns, a similar style, a similar approach to poker from so many different facets of the game that these banned accounts have, well, then you kind of put 2 and 2 together and say, hey, let's get rid of these people. And when it comes to stopping the colluders out there, this is your chance to be able to build some sort of system to be able to do this. Because once again, just banning the accounts we have now isn't going to fix these things completely. Clearly, the system is non-existent in place to catch people doing all these things. People might watch this video and they're going to say, why shouldn't I go do this myself? And quite honestly, I don't have an answer for you, because you're not going to get caught how it is right now. You're just not going to get caught. They're never going to catch you. And I think that needs to change. So I challenge you, Phil, if you really care about this stuff, and if you're not complicit in what's taking place in the site, take some action against this. Fix the problem that's going on. Make some steps. Let us players know that you're trying to do something about it. Let us players know that you legitimately want these bots getting rid of. You're going to punish the colluders. You're going to investigate seriously the possible super using. Because why is it that the dynamic and the play that takes place on America's Cardroom is so much different than every other site out there in the poker world? Why is that? This is just the most unique environment in the world? I don't believe so, Phil. So that is my challenge to you, and that is my challenge to you from myself and from the players out there who compete on your site and who compete in online poker rooms all over the world, my friend. And you mentioned to me that I'm your friend, your Skype's only for your friend. And then you banned me because I voiced this type of energy, and I was very angry, and I was very hurt. And if you can't understand exactly where I was coming from, then I'm not quite sure what I think about is going to happen in this situation. So
I just saw bitch better have my money. It's the one thing that I make sure that stays consistent is it's bitch better always have my money. I always send the money. We may have the bugs, we may not be the prettiest, we may have bugs in the Mac client, which I'll go on record as saying that I shouldn't actually have ever launched because I wasn't, anyway. I hate the Mac client.
All right, now I found many clips, and this clip talks about bitch better have my money, all right? Your main priority, paying out the players, not worry about the software. You even say you hate the Mac client. I uploaded a video last night of a ridiculous glitch happening on the Mac client. Now, why would the Mac client be existing if there are these ridiculous glitches that you're very aware about, that you hate? How is this not fixed? I don't understand. I'm seeing how much rake is being generated in these cash games, in these tournaments, in these sit and goes. Why are these issues not being fixed? What is going on here? Why aren't they attempted to being fixed? Why aren't they being communicated to the players that, hey, we're trying to fix this? Why are players having to play in an environment where the board is changing in front of them and the hand randomly ends? This just makes absolutely no sense to me. How can something not be done about this? And then once again, we go back. Why wasn't something done about the tournament loophole? Why wasn't something done about these players? Why isn't something being done about the bots? Why isn't something being done about the software? I just don't know.
But I definitely spend a lot of time thinking about, where I'm going to spend the money and how I'm going to get the most value out of it.
All right, so you spent a lot of time thinking about where you're going to spend the money. And now let's go back to security, right? I think it might be time we spend some of this money on the security and bringing people in there who know a little bit of what they're doing. And now I understand this can be challenging to find people like that, because the people, I feel like, have to have some understanding of what actual poker players' tendencies are, how poker works, how Putnam and Omaha works, how Noble and Hold'em works, what a dynamic feels like, what's a legitimate player type, what are legitimate player conditions, how do they move tables, how do they interact with each other, who are they winning money to, who are they losing money to, what does collusion look like? Now there's a lot of questions in there. And now I feel like someone has to be able to answer these questions and to know what to look for to be able to detect the things like this that might be happening. But you're going to have to spend money on those people. It might not be cheap, but I do think and I do believe that doing this is just for the greater good of the site and inevitably leads to much more money and much more of something to be proud about as the person in charge of the operation.
But I really am frustrated. I really am. I think free market and fair competition, right? It's great. It's what makes a better product. It's what make that competition is what drives everybody to have better service or better product or whatever else. But this is just, it's just bull, right? It's just freaking crap, right?
Now in this clip, you're referencing the DDoS attacks that were taking place on your website. And now I think this clip can essentially be applied to exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying right now in all the videos is exactly what you're saying. We're saying the exact same thing. We want the exact same thing to be happening right here. And I'm glad they both agree on that.
And again, I don't go out and accuse anybody of doing whatever, because that's not good for anybody, right? It's all it's anyway.
Now I find this clip interesting because this is basically what you first told me and what you've said to me in messages, and kind of what I heard from even communicating with Dan, who you are the one who told me to go talk with. Now, you said don't make accusations, not good for anyone. And now I would completely argue against that, because with my initial video and the accusation that came up from that, much more information has came to me, for some reason, obviously not security, about what's going on in different areas of the site. And now if these initial accusations and these initial, ideas and were put out there, then those things would have never came to light too. So I do think in some situations, there needs to be a discussion being made. There needs to be accusations and people saying, hey, let's look into these people and investigate what exactly is going on, and then make a decision if that's a legitimate accusation or if that's an accusation that you can be disregarded.
Everybody else in the world, right? There's nobody else moving up the ladder. Like zero. Absolutely no one else moving up the ladder, because nobody's thinking about this stuff, and we're definitely doing some things that no one else is doing. Right? We're not going down just the, let's blowtorch everybody's money and, worry about paying everybody, 5 years down the road. Does anything else really matter? Right? If you have to say, okay, I'm going to have the best software in the world, I'm going to have the best this in the world, I'm going to have best that in the world, but there's a much higher percentage chance that I'm not going to get my money. Right? Which one are you going to take?
I'm getting my money.
There you go. Right? It's all you have.
So now in here, you're referencing, I guess, the marketing that you think, the unique marketing that you think ACR does. And now, from what I've observed in terms of the marketing, I don't think you're doing anything different than a site like PokerStars is doing or a site like Party Poker is doing. I'm not sure if what you're talking about is some of these series that you're doing, which every other site essentially does. I'm not sure if it's the spin and goes that you do, which you took from PokerStars, took from other sites. I'm not sure if it's the Sunday $1 million tournament, which came from PokerStars initially. That was the Sunday $1 million tournament. So I'm not exactly sure what you're referencing here. I don't know if you think that you are doing something actually unique when it comes to this marketing side of things. And, kind of once again, you mentioned the money being paid out and the money not getting paid out 5 years from now. And once again, kind of showing me where your priority lies in that you want to pay the players out. And once again, I love that. I want the players to get paid out too. But it just shows a pretty big neglect on a completely other issues that are happening on the website. And now if you think that, the marketing that's been done is this unique thing that's just amazing that no one else in the industry is doing, well, I guess it kind of shows a little bit about where your bar lies in terms of exactly what you're doing and in terms of what you're accomplishing. And now I do think, once again, it's incredible that you've been able to build something where, thousands of players are coming on to register for some of these tournaments. I mean, I guess a lot of those are re-entries because there's a 25-hour re-entry period on the site. But at the same time, it's still something to be incredibly proud of on your standpoint. But I just have to wonder how much of this is legitimate. How much of these accounts aren't bots? How much of these accounts aren't maybe more than that? I don't know. And I have absolutely no reason to believe that something to some degree is certainly taking place here.
Someone asked, why should I choose ACR over other sites?
Because we're cool.
Fair enough.
Okay. No, it's why should you choose ACR? It's. I mean, I can flip the question about it's one of my, and you've heard me say it before, Zach. It's I may not be the handsomest guy in the bar when I go pick up chicken in a bar. I may not be the handsomest guy in the bar. I may not be the wealthiest guy in the bar, but I'm the only one talking to you, right? It's the fact is what are your options? What are your alternatives, right? And how can you possibly think that they're any better, right? That being said, is we are setting ourselves up to compete with the non-U.S. market, and even when you look at the non-U.S. market, there's nobody that gets it. Okay, so it's look at the other poker sites, look at the promos, and so you look at OSS cubed, right? It's tell me a poker site tell me a poker site in their marketing department that knows what a 3-bet is.
I mean, it's sad but true.
Right. It's that's what I'm saying is poker is and since since Amaya bought PokerStars and Full Tilt went out, there's nobody that gets poker, right? It's and I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm saying I'm your only option. I'm saying your best shot, which is winning by default sucks, but it's still winning.
Yeah.
Now, I kind of love this clip. I love the food eating at the end of it too. just love this statement. And now let's talk about this, right? So what are other options? And now, to be fair, the other options are pretty shitty. Let's be honest here. You got other sites where all sorts of shit's happening out there. You got Ignition, which is overrun with bots, collusion, all these same things that plague ACR. You have PokerStars, which I would say significantly better option to play on than America's Cardroom. You have a site like Party Poker, 888 Poker, which I'm not super familiar with, but I do have to believe that these are going to be better options to play on than what I've seen on America's Cardroom. Now, what is American Cardroom better than? All right, what's the alternative? What's it better than? Well, the bar is not very high. You're better than the sites in India, maybe. You're better than the untracked Asian sites that you have to play on the app. I don't think ACR is a better option than the untracked American sites, which you play in the goddamn browser. So I don't think it's a better option than a Unibet. I don't think it's a better option than a microgaming. So I don't think it's a better option than Svenska Spel. I don't think it's a better option than a Winamax. I don't think it's a better option than a lot of other sites out there. And I'm struggling to really find many sites that ACR is going to be a better option than from what I've seen. Now, the crazy thing is, I used to think ACR was one of the best sites that you could possibly play, even on the entire internet, really, of sites out there. And then as you get to learn more and more and more and more and more about what's happening out there, you start to realize, like, what the fuck is going on here, man? It's everywhere. 5 cent, 10 cent? You can't play a legitimate 5 cent, 10 cent game without having to worry about a Russian bot in your game 24 hours a day, winning at 10 big blinds per 100 after rake? What the hell is going on here, man? That's just, it's insane. It really is. So guys, that's what I got for you today. The only way we're going to be able to make a difference is if we continue to let our voices be heard and we continue to draw awareness to this entire situation. So tell ACR, tell your poker sites out there you want these issues fixed. And hopefully we can make a difference out there and hopefully better the online poker ecosystem and the entire poker world for years to come. Thank you guys. Much love. Peace out.